Hey everybody, it's Callus, and welcome to the second semifinal of the Pokemon Perfect 2021 ADV Championship. The first semifinal you should have already watched on the channel. Go back and do that if you've not done so already, between Jonks and PK Nab. The winner of that, which like I said has already been decided, will face the winner of this in the finals. I have not watched these games, and I do not know the outcome or really anything about these games. So, I am looking forward to watching it for the first time, as you guys do. Let's check it out. It is Siglut on the bottom and Kerts on the top, both of whom have been on the channel before. Siglut was on my ROAPL team this year that we ended up winning the whole tour. He was a good teammate and impressed me with his play and contributions. Kerts was in Callus Invitational 5, kind of sort of, play-ins, then main event, yada yada, and is someone who's been one of the top ladder players on and off for a number of years. Both of these guys are probably good enough to play an SPL, frankly, and this is a heavyweight pairing for the semifinals, but alas, here we are, and only one can win. So, let's get to it. Game 1 in a best of 3. Siglut on the bottom, Kerts on the top, and they both have the most common lead in the game, Tyranitar. Kerts opts to stay in. Siglut makes probably the most standard switch in this situation. In Skarm, he's going to get a lair down to be immediately met with a Magneton that comes up very, very short. So maybe it is a non-magnet Magneton that's going to enable a second lair. However, Thunderbolt, of course, is going to kill the Skarm. Toxic on the doll, and it is just the obvious EQ. So we will see if those spikes are going to be there to stay or not. It looks like an offensive team from Kerts, and Gyra and Rhydon are two pokes that he as a player very known for, really favors those, uses them in a lot of teams. Not at all surprised to see Gyarados here. Against this particular opponent, I think Siglut probably should never bring a team that's really weak and gets swept by Gyarados because, well, high chance that Kerts brings it. So hopefully he came prepared. There's a Dragon Dance for Kerts, which may or may not outspeed the Arrow now. Gonna get a T-Wave off, which is actually really crippling for Arrow, but at a heavy cost. It'll cost the life of the Gyarados. And hey, remember how we talked about Rhydon? Here it is. That is a poke that Kerts is very fond of. It does learn Mega Horn, and if that hits here, that would obviously kill the Claydol. Earthquake pops the sub, and it is in fact Mega Horn. Down goes the doll. Pretty quick one here. Already 4 pokes down, leaving us, of course, in a 4-4 situation. Previously unrevealed pokes come in for both, Rachi and Lax respectively, leaving 1 unrevealed each, and now Aerodactyl, paralyzed from before with the T-Wave, is going to come in. It does come in successfully on an Earthquake, but that does not change the fact that it is now slower than a big fat Snorlax, which is not supposed to be the case. But here we are. Now it's Arrow on Arrow, knowing that he's stuck on EQ. Kind of surprised that Siglut stayed in there, honestly. I think it was fairly obvious that the last poke that didn't care about Earthquake was probably going to come in, whether it be an Arrow or Mence, but hindsight 2020, I suppose. He gets behind a sub, he goes for EQ, and Siglut prepared to try to stall him out at this point. Got the Wish Protect combo going. It's non-CB Arrow, obviously, so the damage way lighter than it otherwise would be. And Kerts pretty quick to give up on this. He goes back to his Lax at this point. Going to try to pass Wish to Aerodactyl, and that's going to work. It's an Earthquake, and Aerodactyl receives the Wish. And it's just going to be a boom trade for the paralyzed Arrow that really wasn't doing a whole lot. So I think, if anything, that might have been a decent trade for Siglut. But at the same time, for Kerts, with how low the Lax was, I don't think he was going to get too much value out of that either. So either way, I don't think that trade was super important. I don't think either of those pokes were going to do a whole lot. Rhydon, another very slow poke, is actually going to outspeed Tar, which it's got to be as slow as dirt, no investment Tar. Now he's going aggro on Bliss, fishing for a crit with Earthquake that doesn't come. Ice Beam obviously going to kill him from 19%, and it leaves us in a 2-2. T-Tar dancing up for Kerts, trying to sweep the game. Toxic hits, but is immediately lumbaried away, and I believe this game belongs to Kerts, pending a Rock Slide miss, which does not come, and even then, I don't know what Blissey would do. There's an Earthquake. Toxic, sure. You're just going to need about 8 protects in a row, and you got this. And even then, I think you lose to the Aerodactyl. So, I believe Kerts is about to take Game 1 and put himself 1 game away from being in the finals against, like I said, the winner of Jonks and PK Nab. I'm going to spoil it at some point in this video, so go back and watch that if you have not done so already. In the meantime, Kerts takes game 1, and we are off to game 2, which is right here. Players are in the same position, Siglut on the bottom, Kerts on the top, and they both have T-Tar yet again. Focus Punch and Fori respectively. Different plays than last time, and the Focus Punch 46%. Switching it up now to Rock Slide, looking for a crit or a flinch, gets neither, and spikes come down. Now Focus Punch again, only to be disrupted by Hidden Power. That's going to be HP Bug, not Ghost or Fire, and it does a decent chunk to T-Tar, 40% there. Now Claydol comes in, thinking it'll be Rock Slide, which it is. He resists that, no problem. And it looks like the T-Tar is faster here for future reference sake, but nevertheless he gets out of the way now. So Skarm in for Kerts, and the Fori doubles back, only to be immediately drill pecked, back down to 31%. He's taunted here, and he obliges with a Zap Cannon. Wins the 50-50 coin flip, and it does a decent chunk, 38% and para. But appropriately, he misses the follow-up Zap Cannon. It is a 50-50 after all. However, Skarm is fully paralyzed. Spikes and Roar, and Aerodactyl yet again for Siglut. Rock Slide, fishing for para flinch. Good chance that he gets one or the other, and indeed, he gets a flinch. Swampert comes in. That does, in fact, resist Rock. We know our type matchups here on the Callus Narrates YouTube channel. And he's going to force the arrow out. Doubles back to Skarm here on Celebi. Probably a good play for Kerts. Get a spike down, but it looks like he's going to have a hard time keeping a spike down against the single or maybe even double spinner that Siglut seems to have. Calm Mind and Spike. Here's Arrow trying to force Celebi out. Hidden Power there is resisted. Grass would have been neutral, so that's got to be HP Fire. That could be a Super Celebi, which Siglut used very successfully earlier in this tour. He seems fond of that poke, so it would make sense to me if that's what he's opting for here. And rather similar teams here. A lot of overlap. They've both opted for Celebi, Arrow, T-Tar, and Spiker. Hidden Power also resisted, so that also has HP Fire. Like I said, similar teams here from both gentlemen. Rock Slide and Psychic, respectively. Comparable damage, 47 and 51%, but of course the Aerodactyl is faster here. That's going to get the Skarm to come in, interestingly, not the Swampert, and he's not going to survive another Rock Slide if it hits, which it does, so down that goes, and the first knockout of the game goes to Siglut, trying to force a Game 3. They both, of course, do have an unrevealed in the back. Ice Beam there nowhere near enough, but a follow-up Earthquake or Water attack would be. Hydro Pump there, risky business, runs the risk of a miss and I guess an explosion is probably worst case scenario, but Hydro Pump does connect, so it leaves us in a 5-5. Giga Drain there, 45%. Arrow obviously wouldn't live another, but Celebi may be deterred by HP Flying or even worse, Bug, and it turns out it is Bug. Had it been Flying there, it would have been neutral against Doll. Second HP Bug going to kill the Doll, and Kerts now, who's already up a game, is going to take the lead. Not for long, though, as Celebi comes in to fodder itself to a double edge. Leaves us in a 4-4, and last poke Gar for Kerts, exactly what he's looking for when he's stuck on double edge. T-Tar comes in to try to deal with that, and 50% Hidden Power. That is big boy damage. T-Tar in and T-Tar out. Hidden Power going for the throat. Obviously Siglut not going to allow that. Celebi comes in for the resistance. Ice Punch, 47. This is an offensive Gar, and as we see, it is easily killed there. One shot, no sand necessary by the Psychic. Rock Slide for the revenge kill, and we've got ourselves a 3-3 as the last poke of the game is revealed. Siglut has a back Mence who intimidates and runs just to be safe, and now Rock Slide connects with Aerodactyl as well. Mence comes in for its second Intimidate. Probably a DD is the way it's looking based on how he's playing it. And yes, there is a Dragon Dance. So the question becomes, is he EV'd to live an Ice Beam? He seems to think that he is as he goes for Dragon Dance. And yep, he knows his calcs. Ice Beam there is going to come up short, even with the sand. And that's going to enable the Hidden Power to get him. And I believe now, pending a Rock Slide miss on the opposing Aerodactyl, it's going to be Siglut's game. And it's going to send us over to a Game 3. Actually, when he's that low, he doesn't even need to Rock Slide. He's just going to click Hidden Power. Good enough. So, no chance for a miss, and we are off to a third game. Close one here. Close one in the first game as well. So far, it's been a pretty even set. Now one game will decide it all. I'm going to go ahead and spoil the other set now, so you guys have been warned multiple times. Go back and watch that if you haven't done so already. The winner here is going to face Jonks in the finals. Let's find out. Here we go, third game, switching sides for continuity. Siglut on the bottom, Kerts on the top. Siglut for the third time with the lead T-Tar. Kerts deviates finally and opts for a fortress. Neither one likes the matchup, and the first advantage goes to Siglut, letting spikes down before Kerts does, but not by much. He's got him down here as well. Gar gonna force him out one way or another, whether it's the Fire Punch or the Will-O-Wisp. T-Tar comes in, which is probably Pursuit, so Siglut wisely doubles out of the way. He gets Meta in here, free Meteor Mash or whatever he wants to do, Toxic if he has that. Earthquake nails Pert there, 25%, not a huge deal. So now Skarm comes in, only to be immediately roared out. Siglut playing it pretty safe here with a standard, boring Skarm Bliss TSS. Well, except for that poke, that's not so standard. Charizard in the back, the Breaker, usually a nightmare for 4E teams. And there's HP Grass, exactly what Kerts does not want to see. Charizard is going to be very difficult for Kerts to switch into throughout this game. I don't love leaving it in Siglut's seat there. I think it's too valuable. I think you could just go to Blissey pretty safely here. But nevertheless, it seems to be working out. Here's Fortress and T-Tar respectively. That is perhaps anticipating Explosion from Kerts. That, of course, doesn't come. And now Rock Slide comes down. That's not going to get a flinch, so it's layer number 2 of spikes that we know that Siglut cannot remove. There's no spinner. He now misses Rock Slide. That's going to enable a third layer of spikes that he's going to have to live with for the rest of the game. And he's going to fail to Rapid Spin here as Gengar comes in. Don't like that play from Kerts. I think it was fairly clear that Gengar was going to come in there a lot of the time. He's going to miss Will-O-Wisp, however, on the T-Tar, and this may get him eaten. Some of them are bulky enough to actually survive Pursuit. We'll see if this one is. Hell no. A non-boosted Pursuit is going to be 2/3, so he is super dead next turn. Thunderbolt, best thing he could do on the way out, better than nothing. Don't love the crunch there. I think you always Pursuit. Crunch seems like a mistake for Kerts, but nevertheless, the Gar goes down. Maybe he was playing around a Giga Drain, but that still seems bad because he wouldn't have healed enough to be out of Pursuit range. So I think Crunch there was bad. I think you always Pursuit. But regardless, he gets the outcome he's looking for, and it leaves us in a 5-4 situation after 4 dies. 2 unrevealed still for Kerts. Gengar comes in. Now Blissey trying to check it. Thunderbolt only 10%, not that exciting, but the spikes did do a 4th as she came into that. Got to think about things like Taunt and Explosion here, but neither one occurs. Siglut does go for Ice Beam here, just in case Kerts had gone for Taunt. And now she's going to soft boiled safely, and the best thing that Kerts can do back is fling a Toxic at her, which is better than nothing. It puts her on a clock, but Siglut to me seems clearly ahead in this game, despite the fact that the 3 layers of spikes are down. He's got the flat-out Pokemon advantage, and the Charizard is very difficult for Kerts to switch into, assuming it does in fact have Focus Punch, as most Zards do. It is usually a mixed breaker, which is very difficult for these TSS teams that Kerts is running to switch into. However, Siglut is not getting any ground here. He's going to miss Toxic, eat an S-Toss, layer number 3 of Spikes, sure, but it's going to cost him the Skarm, so both players are going to have to live with all 3 layers for the rest of the game, unless it happens to be second spinner in the back for Kerts, but that seems extremely unlikely to me. Rock Slide there is going to prompt a T-Tar fodder, and it's last poke Doug from Kerts. That makes more sense. That should eat the Tar, but no, he's short. That's a Jolly Doug. Jolly Doug that must have a lot of special defense. He's cheating on his attack, and he gets punished. Kerts all of a sudden is down to just 2 pokes. Siglut's got 3, and Meta's a pretty good one to have here. Kerts, I think, needs like a para, full para, or a crit, or something. Goes for Will-O-Wisp and doesn't get it, and that should be the ball game. Meteor Mash is going to connect. Can't imagine what Bliss could do here. Outspeed Fire Blast or something along those lines? Nope. Meta's going to be faster. Gonna go for Explosion, and that is going to be the ball game. It's going to be Siglut with the victory here. 2-1 over Kerts, and it's going to be Siglut in the finals against Jonks. This whole series I thought was pretty close. All the games pretty tight, like I said, but ultimately it is going to be a 2-1 victory for Siglut, and he's going to earn his spot in the finals. Let me know what you guys thought. I thought that it was not perfect by any means from Kerts, but here we are. I thought that this game in particular, there were a couple of questionable plays, but nothing egregiously awful. As a whole, it was a decent set, and like I said, all three games were close. Hopefully it was decent to watch. So, leave a comment, hit the like button, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video, which is probably the finals of this tour. Thanks for watching.